and welcome to Artistically Married, where art and opportunity collide. We're your hosts, Jake Ackerman.
And Brienne Steinberg.
Yeah, we're sharing a mic today.
Ooh, we gotta be too close to each other. We hate it. We're so excited. We have our wonderful guests, Mike Saracino and Lynn Stanclik.
Yep.
Yes. Got it. They're the band together, the band For Ernest. And yeah, we're so happy to have you guys.
Happy to be here. Yeah.
Thank you for
Welcome
having
to your
us.
first podcast.
Yay!
Yeah. Amazing. I thought we would start the podcast by hearing how you guys met.
All right.
Do you want to lead?
Sure. We met a little later. Well, actually, we may have met in around high school time briefly. My best friends are his first cousins.
Ah.
So probably like a Christmas party or a birthday party or something. But we were both not, I think we were with other people. We just weren't really paying attention. So we re-met. For a long time, I was working at Ravine Winery just up the road there in St. David's.
Love that place.
And he was playing music. So I recognized him. I think it may have been just after like a winter season you're coming back. And I was like, oh, that's Joey's cousin. I'm going to go say hi. And he introduced himself like it was the first time we met. So I'm like, oh, not memorable. That's okay. But yeah, so we were just friends for a while. And yeah.
Yeah, and I think then for about probably a year and a half, we kind of became kind of like best friends, like to the point where it's like the always like the 2-hour hangs after work, or like just like the longest conversations, and then to the point where it was like, oh, now we're such good friends. Don't want to almost like don't want to ruin it though, because we become so like our conversations are so deep and like we didn't want it to be fleeting. And then
I wanted to ruin it.
Okay, fair enough. Yeah, there we go.
Were you guys playing music together before you were together?
No.
Wow.
No. But you did play some. She did play some shows with my cousin.
I have a duo with Joey called the Rhythm Method.
Okay.
Niagara's premier folk duo. And he played solo, so it was later.
Yeah, and then eventually, just like we're like, okay, like there's no not trying this. It kind of was like, so then we're like, if we ruin it, but then we didn't, because it's been about a decade now, so.
That's wild.
Yeah.
You were talking about this, so we've had the pleasure of seeing you guys a few times now. We're at Brandon's show, and then we saw you at Hansberger with your own release, and then the Minuscule release.
Yeah.
But yeah, you were talking about, I think it's Until We're Ghosts. Right?
The
song,
that was our first release.
Yeah, so you were talking about that song kind of like that as your introductory, and I assumed that it was one of those moments where you're just like, you met and we're instant, like, okay, we're married now.
I think the instant was like we're gonna like, this is something that isn't going to go away.
Yeah. And
like it felt profound, but almost like then a little not scary, but like, okay, that we have to tend it, like we have to nurture this thing, because this isn't
It kind of, the lyric is like, if all there's left to do is kiss.
It's like,
it really kind of
right. Okay, that makes sense.
You know everything about me, and we just have kept it like this, arm's length, and so just like, are we ruining it? Are we ruining it all the way? Yeah. So, not
so
instant, but definitely intentional choice at one point.
Yeah. And I loved it because it was like, it's you hear all the time like until death do us, and I think it's so beautiful, the concept of like even after that, it's like it's forever and ever and ever. I love that. I think it's so cool, and like obviously us as well, like in a relationship, and just having the art and our relationship kind of coincide has been so special for us to support each other in that way. So what does that mean for you guys to be in a relationship and be in the kind of love that you're in, and then to add the extra layer of your music?
I think it's like it adds an intensity to everything, and there's like almost like maybe there's something that if we didn't have this part of our relationship together, like the artistic sense, the music sense, there would probably be a part of me or a part of you that we wouldn't know. Like there would be something that like we could never really understand. But because it's shared, sometimes that can lead to like, the stress and conflict, or like just like, because you're emotionally charged. So sometimes it can be like explosive. But for the most part, what I would say about it is it means you understand the person on a level that it's like an extra facet that doesn't exist in a normal relationship.
Totally.
Yeah.
Yeah, but then even as an artist, if you want to write like a song because you're angry, then you know who it's about.
Yes.
Who's this about? You know what?
Not you.
It's a fictional story.
I'd be okay with it. I'd be like, that did happen. But typically, funny about that, I feel like, I mean, we're very affectionate, of course, with each other, but we tend to be, like, because we've established such a friendship, like, we are very much friends, and sometimes he'll write, like, a love song, and I'm like, do you think that about me? And he's like, well, yeah. But I hear it in the song, like, oh, that's really nice. So,
that's every woman's dream. It's like a man's writing poetry for her.
He's not walking around the house just so you know,
it's easier for me to convey it in song.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I haven't gotten any hate mail yet from him. But the love songs are nice.
It's a good sign.
Yeah. I've had someone at a gig be like, does he talk like that all the time to you? Like, no.
Then it wouldn't be
not.
special.
Yeah.
If every day is a sunny day, what's a sunny day?
Yeah, totally. But yeah, I think it's so great to have that. I always look at other people's relationships and I'm like, what do you guys talk about? Like, I honestly don't know, because anytime we're getting together, we're talking about our projects, right? Like, we work together, so it gives us such like great fulfillment. It feels like it's like so much purpose. There's this extra layer in our relationship that we're like building something together.
It's like an enormous common thread. Yeah.
Oh,
It feels
we
love
like,
it.
like being known fully, you know, like just having, I guess like that it's that very personal part of you. Like, I'm not going to not have this creative outlet. It's just kind of a part of me. Both of us, all of us, probably all artists, since they're young. Like, it's not like a later in life choice. It's kind of like it chooses you, you know?
Yeah, 100%.
So it's like feeling fully known or fully understood.
Yeah.
It's
You don't get into it because it's an easy path. You get into it because you have to.
It's in you. It's in you. It's like being possessed kind of thing.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yes.
I was wondering if you guys have like, definitive like schedules, or you're just like, okay, Friday night we're gonna do this thing, or like, or is it just like any extra time you have,
I would say for like we definitely have shared calendars. She
you're
likes
like,
calendars.
okay, we're gonna sit down and do this to this day.
Our fridge
That's
has like
me.
4 months of calendars ahead.
He's like,
yes.
because that's how it happens.
Otherwise
me,
it would never happen.
Fair enough. For me, there's some parts I need still to be spontaneous though, so I kind of like, I will say to Tara, I'm like, I need a slow morning tomorrow, like where there's no, like we're not planning anything until after this time, because I just want to be in the sunroom with my guitar and see if something comes out. Or like, because sometimes I almost
Amen.
sometimes,
Common threads. I think, and we've actually, I feel like actually this past year has been a bit more understanding from us both in that way, that we have different needs when it comes to creating. And he's definitely like, he will, if for even a moment he has a second to allow himself to, like, heaven forbid, get bored, something comes through, and then it's this like flow that can occur. Whereas I like to create a scenario to then create in, and that ends up getting scheduled in. So I feel like what we sort of landed on is I let him do his way of having the spark, that initial moment of creating, and then if we're like, okay, we're gonna record, so like let's practice this time, or let's work out parts, like
it does
let's
feel
run
easier
it a
to
couple
schedule
times
like a
until,
rehearsal. Like that stuff feels like, because it's more tangible. I'd be like,
if we're editing the song or fix it, and like maybe we'll change the key or change the tempo, then we can sit and like.
And it does become like, that's kind of your strong suit too, is like, it's like this bird's eye view of like, she'll watch me create something and she'll be like, I like this, but I feel like this here needs to switch. Like we need to change this line, or we need to like, this melody should actually like, it should go up here. And it's like, she's like my editor. I'll get in that space, and then she'll see it from like a distance that I'm too close to see it. So it's like a nice, when we can make the flow work, it's like a nice combination
balance.
of things.
Yeah, I think you do need both, right? So I'm always curious how artists do it that are in a relationship together, because how do you like a point all those times, right? Like it's a lot of work to get done, and if you don't, I get it. I'm the same way. I think we've gotten better too, and especially as you get older, like you're just, you're more tired, I guess. You stop planning stuff so much. You're just like, all right, we'll just like wait and see what happens. But I think it is about finding that balance. It's so great.
For sure.
I was wondering if you guys, like, what's your backgrounds in terms of your education with music?
I went to music industry arts, like at Fanshawe. So like
full on.
Yeah.
Holy. That's why you're so talented.
It was more like a music production and engineering and
fun.
And like kind of the business side of things. We did do stuff like ear training as well and psychoacoustics and a lot of just kind of like a lot of broad learning on all the things in the industry, I guess. And we also like contract law and all of these things. But it was a really cool program. It was really intense. I remember when I went, it was really over applied too. So I was lucky that I got in young. So I did get in out of high school. So I was 18, but like the average age in the program was about 22. So Ethan, who I went to music industry arts as well too. He was like 4 years older than me, but we became like really close friends in that program. That's how we started working together. But we had a lot of great teachers there too, like our production teacher who's passed now, but like was Jack Richardson, and like if you win a Juno for producing music, it's like the Jack Richardson Award in Canada. It's like
my gosh!
He produced Peter Gabriel, the Guess Who, like just he has like his, and then his son Garth Richardson did like Rage Against the Machine, and
oh man,
wow!
So it was a cool person to like kind of be sitting at the producer's desk with, and like just letting him explain to like a group of 18 of us, I think, in my cohort. Not my class, but my cohort. Like they divided us into 4 groups.
Wow.
Yeah, it was really rad. It was a nice place to kind of like, especially when you're like 18 and so excited. It's a nice place to like to be. And then yeah. And then even from there, like there's still people that have reached out to me that I went to school with then that are in different kind of areas in the music industry. One of my friends, Chris Guglick, he works doing composition for film, and he's brought me in a couple times now to do like some work on TV shows he's been working on, or like in one case it was an indie film and they needed a song, and so I got to bring one of my own songs in for it, and
so
kind of
fun.
cool little connections back to way back when.
Yeah.
Cool.
There's 2 things that I think is awesome about that scenario is the networking. One, like just meeting people that are in the industry that give you all those connections. I think it's so important to be able to like reach out to someone if you need something. And the other part, I think we talk about it all the time on the podcast, is I think typically artists of any form come from this like very passionate, like we were talking about, it's like you're possessed, like you have to do it, it's in you and it has to come out. But I think we also sometimes have this unrealistic understanding of what it means to be an artist and actually make it a job and make it a career. People don't understand, right? They're like, I'm going to be a singer-songwriter, I'm going to be a painter, and they don't understand this business aspect behind, and it ends up taking them so much longer to get themselves positioned where they can balance the two. So I think it's so cool that like you were in a program that was like facilitating that other side of it.
For sure, yeah.
Be aware of this other component.
Yeah.
So you can tell.
Yeah. No, well, before that too, you were drummer and...
Yeah, I did start, I've been playing, like in the terms of performance, I've been playing, like I started playing drums was my first instrument. I started playing drums around 9 years old. I started playing the guitar simultaneously around 11 years old. But like I gigged mostly as a drummer through high school and college, and then, but also starting in college would play like acoustic duo stuff as well too, and then eventually in my mid-20s I switched to being a guitarist who sometimes drums, and now I'm just a guitarist singer that drums on our records but doesn't drum outside of that really anymore. Yeah, and you can speak to yours too.
Yeah, I guess I was just definitely one of those kids that was just walking around the house singing, and I think my parents were like, we should probably get her in some lessons. But I started in piano, just kind of did the Royal Conservatory route, all the exams and stuff, piano and voice, all the way through to university. And I did apply to go to school for like classical voice, but I didn't end up doing that. So I guess up until that point, I kind of took a bit more classical direction. And then I started teaching music. I taught at the Niagara Conservatory of Music for years.
Amazing.
And yeah, it kind of took a little hiatus from music for a while, and then it just felt like listless and lost. I'm like, why do I feel like this? It's like, oh yeah. And that's when I started singing with his cousin Joe. And yeah, eventually it came on back to performing and gigging, and yeah, less classical, but a lot of weddings and funerals, a lot of Christmas Eve church, you know, situations.
Gotta work.
Yeah, exactly.
Find the work.
Yeah, you gotta find the work.
It's been interesting to like bridge that, because I tend to approach things with a more like technical, I'm like, we should breathe here and then sing through this phrase. Could you give me a few more, you know, consonants here? Yeah. And then he'll be like, you know, settle it down. There's too many T's and S's.
Yeah. So pronounce less, emote more.
Bring on the slur.
Yeah.
Amazing. Are you still teaching now?
I'm not. I taught for, many years, and I was teaching privately a little bit when we were in St. David's, but yeah, no, now I'm not teaching. I kind of shifted a little bit.
You said you're working at Ravine. Are you still there now? No.
I was there for about 12 years.
Wow.
I guess not recently now, but I've started kind of shifted careers a little bit, or side careers. I don't know.
All the careers.
The side careers that artists have to, you know, make work. I work at a psychology firm in Burlington.
Oh.
So I test mostly kids, but adults too, for a range of things, from like a brain injury or accident, or maybe a learning disability, or some kind of cognitive struggle. And I do the day testing with the kids, and then send it off to the smart doctors to interpret.
Yeah.
Which is cool. It's totally different, but it's
so
different. What I have an undergrad in, so it was helpful to like be able to kind of pivot when I needed it. And
nice.
Yeah. So I do that right now.
Cool.
Yeah.
I went to school for speech pathology,
No,
so
my
I was
sister
doing the
too.
same thing.
Yeah, for sure.
Bunch of diagnostics.
Oh yeah.
That's why I was like
psychometric testing.
Yeah. I think it was wild too, because I went to school at UB, and in the States there's not like a CDA and a speech path.
Okay.
So the speech paths do everything. Like they do the diagnostics, but then they take the kids on for you know, the sessions. Where in Canada we have CDA. So when I came back here to start working, I was like, oh, this is not at all working with kids.
No,
you know? Yeah.
I know.
The clinical part, I was like, oh, in the States, at least they get to work with kids. Whereas here, you do your testing, and then you pass it off to CDAs who do all like the interactions. So I think at that point, I was like trying to mix my dancing with something that was going to end up being like community based, where kids could come in and they could stay from. That was the other thing I hated, was that you get a kid in and then it ends up being, you know, like 10 sessions and they're out. And I was like, this doesn't work.
That's fair.
I wanted like the long term, right?
Yeah.
I wanted to talk about your new album that just came out. We went to the CD release at Hansberger. It was unbelievable. The venue was incredible. Everyone there was having such a good time. It was packed.
Yeah.
I don't think you could have fit one more body in that building.
We kept pushing the envelope. So it started with there was going to be tables, and we were going to do 100, and then once we got past 100, we're like, can we
take the tables out?
Well, I think we went to 120, and we're like, now it's really tight with tables.
Yeah.
And then we're like, the most the room they said could fit was 150, so we went to 150, maxed out the chairs.
I still feel shocked though. I'm like, they're like, oh, this many tickets. I'm like, what? Wait, what?
That's amazing.
Yeah, we were very happy with it. It was just
it's a little bit overwhelming, but really beautiful.
Yeah.
And it's such a beautiful venue.
And we have a great relationship with the venue, like from.
You had mentioned that at the show.
Yeah, I've been playing there for a dozen years. On the patio, just like when I met them there. The first year they started doing music there. And then about 6 or 7 years ago, they started doing the songwriters nights, and we were actually with our friends, 4 other artists, 2 other couples that we're really good friends with. We did like the first songwriters night there, and then that became a very steady thing they've been doing the last 6 years. So
fun.
Yeah.
How often?
They do it every other Thursday in the winter.
Wow,
yeah, it's a great time.
Like twice a month.
Twice a month with like 3 different acts, solos or duos. But how that works, we actually did one with Minuscule the month before we did our release show. But that one's actually in the round. So we play in a circle in the middle of the room, and they build tables out in every direction. So you're watching the circle in the middle, and it's like 3 different songwriters, and they'll each speak to their own song and pass it off in a circle.
Yeah, it's really fun.
So awesome.
Yeah, it's great.
Amazing.
It's a great night. Yeah.
I maybe were surprised by the turnout, but I think like just the amount of experience that both of you come with to your project together, I think it's amazing. Like just, you know, for you can see when you guys are performing that you just come from like years and years and years and hours and hours and hours of working on your craft. So yeah, it was not surprising to us. I mean, the work was so talented and so polished. I think, yeah, it was amazing.
Yeah, and you put together an awesome band for that show as well.
That was daunting to lead such a big band.
Do you plan on doing more with that?
Yes, we definitely want to remount something in the future. We already spoken about kind of some ideas of doing it again in the future, maybe in the winter. But yeah, I would literally love to. Like
I had moments where the band is so good. I'm like, oh my gosh, I better practice and be great because they are so good that I can't be the weakest link. But the first, we sort of, actually almost most of those musicians recorded the album. There are a few that couldn't be there, but like we would be hearing them do their part and I'd be sitting there like, oh wow, this is wow. And then, you know, when we actually, but it was all individual. Like he would just have them for their
like
individual
the double bassist or the violinist or the
so when they all came together, I was like that morning, like I'm so anxious. We both were like, I just don't know, how will it be?
But the first rehearsal, you mean?
They like started the first song and I was like, oh, my whole spine.
Yeah.
They're just as good as I thought they were going to be, better.
We even ran rehearsal, like it was a lot of music and a lot to ask to get 12 people in the room together. So we did a rehearsal with just the choir and then like just one string player, just the TJ the drummer and Dan the guitarist. Like we did a rehearsal like the four of us,
right?
So we had all these individual rehearsals and then we had one full band rehearsal before the actual show where it was the first time everyone was in the same room. Was the Sunday before the show. And then we're like, okay, let's try it. And then everyone was just so prepared that we literally ran the album front to back once and we're like, that was good. Want to do it again? Then we did front to back again. And then we had a barbecue. And then we were like, ready to go.
I know. Yeah. Man, we were so fortunate. It was
it's just it's a tribute to like the professionalism and the talent that was, you know, surrounding you guys. And I think it's so awesome. So beautiful.
Yeah, we feel lucky that they all said yes to do it. So.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, again, a testament to you guys, right? That they're like willing to get involved in your project. It was amazing. You mentioned that you did the album front to back, and I think at the Minuscule, same thing, right? It was the full album in order.
Yeah. We did actually we switched one only because to bring up like the bigger choir at the end. So we did play with almost the order of the album with we moved one song.
Yeah. So was there discussion around like that style, like doing that? I mean, it's a rarity to see that in a show setting. Maybe it's because it's an album release. I get it, but I was just wondering if there was discussion around that. You know, doing it in order.
With Cinema, we had to because the songs actually don't on the album don't end. So if we'll bring the vinyl, but it does the actual and which made it the hardest thing I've ever had to produce because it was one big recording session.
Yeah.
With all
talk about screen space.
It just keeps going.
30 minutes but then we had to figure out like, okay, this song ends and we're gonna end up in. Well, we're in A minor right now. We're going to end up in C minor. We're in 4/4. We're going to end up in 3/4. We're slowing down 30 BPM. What can we do over these two bars to not stop the music? So we had to figure out all these transitions. And then once we had figured those out and made an album that way, like, well, we have to do it that way live.
Yeah.
Which we also had to like preface to like, please don't clap between any of these songs. Because we wanted to like just get through it's like the idea would be like you can go and listen to an individual song, no problem. But you can also listen to it as a 30-minute piece, like where it doesn't end.
I love that so much, like an album as just one piece of art. Like one of my favorite albums growing up was Decemberist, Hazards of Love. It's kind of a similar thing, just start to finish.
I haven't listened to that in a while. I love that album.
And I love that. It's I can imagine it'd be difficult kind of weaving everything through, because it stays consistent, like musically too. It's not like you just have like ambient noise and stuff, you know.
Yeah, it was definitely a lot of extra effort, but we were both once we decided this feels like a soundtrack, then we like, well, okay, we'll have to figure it out, we'll have to make it work. But
and then halfway through, even we had to like, my computer could no longer handle it. We had to get another computer. Like, it was just like,
there were many moments of like, what are we doing? Are we for real? This is ridiculous. But I'm glad we pushed through. But yeah, it was a lot of moments of like, oh my gosh, the idea came before the like, how do we do it? I don't know. Yeah. Let's just try and see as we go.
So. I think that's like the nature of being an artist. You know, you'll have this like really creative idea, and then you try to figure out the technical, and you're like, ah, man, why do we do this to ourselves?
Good job, we chose the hardest route.
Yeah.
So when I get to 355 tracks, I was like, nope.
But as far as the Minuscule show, I don't actually think we even talked about it. I think we were kind of just like, when we were choosing the order to put the vinyl together, we're like, what flows into this and also fits on this side?
Also, yeah, literally, like, what fits on the vinyl side?
So we had kind of been listening, like, okay, well, it ends like this and this one starts like this. So I think we had kind of just like, we like the order like that. So I think it just felt like the show would be a good... But I don't think we actually specifically planned it.
And also we didn't, at the Minuscule show, we didn't, until the very end, the encore, we didn't play anything from the first record. So we played literally just the record.
Yeah.
So then, because the order was pretty thought out for the release, we're like, well, like for the album itself. We're like, if that's what flows on the album, that probably is what's going to flow live. And like what was neat is it was kind of like a buzzer beater of a tune. Like Laurel wrote, If Not Now, like when the record was essentially done, and that was never going to be on the record.
Really?
Like the song we opened with.
Yeah.
And then we were like, okay, so we got to record this really quick. Like Joe Lipinski had been producing the record, but like there was just a time constraint. So it was literally Tara and I were at our studio recording our parts. Laurel and Jill were at her house recording their vocal parts. We're like calling each other, like,
Joe
are we doing
like,
ooh or an ah here? And then like simultaneously
like,
recording.
Send it to me and stuff. Cool. It's like a three-way call. Oh my gosh.
And then we got that done like a week before it had to be mastered. And then, so it was pretty wild. Yeah.
That's crazy. That one was so good. When you guys started with that, like you could just hear a pin drop. That was amazing.
Oh, so good.
That was amazing. We could feel, I think, in the room, like how quiet it got. And we're like, oh, this is, it felt really beautiful on stage.
Well, that happened, you know, Laurel was like, guys, I maybe have another song that I maybe want to be the feature track of the album.
I might have encouraged it
and
too,
we're like, no. And then she's like, let me show it to you. And we're like, absolutely. Definitely. We will make it happen. It's too good.
Yeah.
Maybe you got like prep for it during COVID. Did you have any of those like COVID jams where you guys were like trying to do stuff over Zoom or recording
Actually, me and Joey did some too, but you definitely did. That was cool.
Yeah.
You're with Nav and your
actually that was a lot. We did one with
like it was Nav, Mr. Navarone.
Yeah, that's my extension.
We had him play, but then we also had
he was like legend at St. Paul. Yeah.
But we also had my dad drummed on it. It was just a blues tune, but then my buddy Jan, who lives in the south of France, who I met in Australia, and we played together and we recorded together over there. I said, hey, what are you doing? Can you get yourself into a studio? He's like, well, we have a rehearsal space we go to that has like, you know, some good mics. And I said, okay, I need a keyboard part and a vocal. I'm going to send you the video and we're going to do like a little 4-video montage. And
amazing.
I'm like, yeah. And then so we put that was our COVID jam.
Yeah, so maybe there was a little prep.
Yeah. You're just like, all right, we know how to do this. We just did this for a couple years.
Well, actually, my buddy did over that time too, like the guy who does kind of film score stuff. He had me drum on something for like a television show. Or no, it was a film. It was a film. But it was like takes place in Nashville, and like there's this band that plays on stage, but like there's like a band actually playing the recordings. Like, so I was like the drummer that was playing the drums that the guy on the, you know, was playing. But
fun.
He introduced me to what's called Session Wire, which
like
was
some software?
It's wired into Pro Tools. So I was on my drums in Niagara, he was in Toronto, but speaking to me through my headphones while I was recording in Pro Tools, and we were like working on the same session open like over a link.
Yeah. Wow. We did over COVID. Was it good? Like timing was good?
Yeah, the timing was pretty good.
Because that was everyone's complaint, right? Is there like if there's 1 second of a lag in music, it doesn't work.
Yeah, so we wouldn't be like he would probably still be hearing at a bit of a sample delay when I'm actually drumming.
Okay.
But then when we go to talk, that's like at a lower bit rate.
Yeah.
And it's like a quicker stream. So we could speak to each other without a lag. And I would be hearing the session in real time. He would be hearing it not in real time, but that wouldn't matter because his whole feed, the video and the audio, were both delayed when I'm recording.
Okay, right.
So I think it was like okay for him. I don't know. I wasn't on his end. But he said it was fine. Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah, so many different fandangles were happening.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, that was
Tech will
wildly
find
new
a
to me.
way.
He's like, download this, do this. I was like, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. I was like, I'll drum.
Nerdy music stuff.
Yeah, geeks.
Yeah,
No, I think we just, we made it work, right? Whatever had to happen to make it work.
And there's a lot of cool things to pick up, like that we can now kind of take forward in non-pandemic times.
Never again. We're never going back in the box. So hanging out with you guys and like any of the interactions we've had with you guys is you're so like happy and bubbly. There was definitely an energy on cinema that was heartbreaking.
For sure. Yeah.
Heartbreaking. Like just, you could tell like it was you guys, putting it all out there, hard on your sleeve, and you guys processing. Do you want to take us through kind of what the losses that you were experiencing and kind of the hardship that was the motivation or the influence for this album?
Sure.
I'm
Yeah.
gonna start because I feel like your grief is the kind of the start of the journey.
The spark of it. So, at the beginning of 2019, I don't know if this needs a trigger warning. I always forget that part and then later think I should say something. So it is related to losing a loved one to addiction. So my older brother Chris had passed in the early part of 2019. And it was just like, earth-shattering. We were not, prepared for that, and I don't think there's a way to be prepared for that anyway, even if you could be, but it was really, really shocking, and just, everything like in that instant just changed for my life, my family's life, our lives, and we were just kind of on the edge of sort of figuring out how to deal with that. Actually, I guess probably part of your family stuff plays in. A matter of weeks after that happened, Mike's mom became suddenly ill with a really rare neurological condition called Guillain-Barré, which is like a nervous system disorder that attacks your central nervous system. And so without knowing what was going on with her, we were in the hospital with her and they were trying to figure it out, and we ended up in Hamilton, and there was that long journey. So it was like Mike was there for me like every moment when things happened with my brother, and then before we could recover, it's like, okay, now I'm here
Pivoting
for you.
to help me figure out how to navigate living in ICU.
It was just like a combination of shock and drowning and grief, but it was like it was a bubble in a weird way, because there's just this grief. There's nothing else. By the time his mom fortunately pulled through and was able to, and she was like, it was pretty serious. She was on a ventilator at one point and we didn't know what was going to happen, but she did eventually, thank goodness, pull through. And then there was a rehab and all of that.
Learning to walk again and all these things for quite a while. And,
by the time we got home from that, it was like the year had pretty much come
we were
and been
into
done.
November,
Wow.
And that following, year was 2020. So it was this
right into the pandemic.
brick wall of being faced with dealing with it, I think was kind of what happened. So we just were sort of, I think because we had to go along, like, okay, now we have to do the next thing that needs to happen. There wasn't time to process until we really just
the world shut,
had nothing else to do. And I think that was where
so some of these songs were actually written kind of like starts of them, like Darker Score would be one that in that time, in that like that early COVID, but like we weren't ready to unpack like we didn't have the songs fully formed. We had these ideas that had to come out, but I think we probably just didn't have enough scope on what had happened to us. We almost needed like a bunch of years to pass to look at it in the full scope of what it means to our life. And to also like see, first of all, to have healed, to be able to write about healing. Because we weren't fully healed in 2020 or 2021. Right. And we were also then dealing with the whole, like, there's just a lot of fear in the world at that point in time too. So I feel like by 2025, we had a full scope and kind of an album ready. And then by, you know, and then in 2026, we started recording it. But it was obviously like a long gap between the experience and the album. But I feel like we needed that because we needed a bird's eye view on what that was. Like some of the songs, I didn't even like the first song with lyrics on the record, Darker Score. I don't think I spoke to it. I might have spoke to it the night you saw us at Brand's, like the house concert. But that was like, my dad was chain smoking nervously outside Hamilton ICU. We didn't know if my mom was going to survive. And he was just saying, why is this her karma? Why is this her fate? She's been such a great mother, such a great wife, such a great person, such a great daughter. And I said, no one gets to, I feel like it came through me like a conduit sometimes, like when it's not really even my words, like, you know, it's like, you feel like you're just letting something pass through you that's kind of just there in the ether, like in the atmosphere. But I said, I think I'm like, we don't get to choose like when grief comes for us. But like, I think her karma is the love that's surrounding her. And that's the karma of her whole life. You know, you put out so much love your whole life and all these people are rallying. Yeah. And, but I didn't really even like have, I think a few years passed, like, I'm like, oh, that's how the record starts. Like a warning, but like also like, but love, because this darkness is going to come. And then the whole record falls into like, its darkest bits are like, the next song is Darker Still, where Laurel, it's actually Laurel's voice on that instrumental track. Yeah. And it gets, and then into Be My Only, which is, I think those are like the lowest moments of the record. And then the whole pickup, and then into the whole rebuilding, like the last song, Rebuild, with lyrics. It's like we didn't fully rebuild probably till like 2024.
Currently
still rebuilding. Yeah. Right. Yeah. So it felt like it took that long to process, to then be able to put this record out. And
I think that's kind of where, at least it felt, I don't know, don't want to use the word urgency, because I guess the whole point of what we're trying to say is like it really took time. I think it felt really important for us to say it or sing it, present it in such a way to like not even give permission, because that sounds so like, I'll give you permission. It's not like that, but just recognizing like we don't really talk about how long and drawn out and how pivotal, like we talk about grief, we use a lot of language around it. It is just like love or any other, you know, life event or emotion, like every single person experiences it. So there's a familiarity, but there isn't this like, oh yeah, I'm, 7 years out, still struggling. How are you doing? Like there's not that like realness to it. And like literally there were things, months prior to the release that we're still working it out. We're still figuring it out, tweaking some lyrics, figuring out little arrangements, and like very much reliving and very much still feeling present. And I think what felt really important, and like you're mentioning, we're, happy people, and like we are. Yeah. That isn't... Being happy and experiencing joy in life doesn't mean at all that you're not still so deeply struck by your grief. And to be honest, I don't really feel like I am moving through my grief until it can like kind of come beside me on the other parts of my life that are also are happy as well. And I think that's why it felt so important to not just release the album, but actually play it live. And the band, like we were talking about them before, how amazing they were. And they are. But we picked them specifically because some of them are our lifelong friends, best friends, family members. But they all have like a, gut punch level changed my life and every cell in my body completely kind of grief, that they understand the language, you know? So they were like able to go there with us and really be vulnerable and present. And so I think that's part of what made it feel so profound, is like, yeah, we're living, life is going, but we're also still very much feeling this. And so that really, I don't know. And I think the other part, which it was definitely not a last minute decision to talk before the show, but I kind of felt more, it really mattered to me that I spoke specifically about my brother, because the other part of grief is essentially that you still love very much the person that you're, you know, missing. And in his particular case, because he died from a drug overdose, it's like this cultural shame that gets applied when really it's like one component of a person. And, you know, I don't know a single person who doesn't have one part of themselves that they're like,
struggling with,
I could work on that.
Right.
And again, like, I'm not trying to also diminish the challenge that addiction has on a person's life, or also more specifically how it has an effect on their family and friends.
Yeah.
I don't want to diminish that, but I also I'm not okay that that's it. That's all we talk about now about them. Or we don't talk about them because of that. It's like, there's so many parts of them that still deserve to be, you know,
Celebrated.
living and celebrated.
Shouldn't feel like anything's off limits.
If we don't
Like,
talk
we're
about
taboo to-
you,
Then the memories are gone, right?
memories are
Yeah,
gone.
the memories
And
disappear.
so
Yeah.
it kind of felt like, I don't know, just really wanted to make sure. And I actually, when he passed, I think the shock of it all and just the confusion, and also like having the understanding of what it really meant to lose him in that way, I almost was so shocked I couldn't really speak about it. And I remember, even though this seems like a silly thing to say out loud, I made a post about him 3 years after he passed away. And it just felt like only 3 years later could I actually even put words to some of the feelings. And I felt so like, I'm so late. Like, I didn't say anything publicly when he died. And like, I'm always late for everything. I'm always behind the 8 ball. But it's like, no, just say it at any time. Because any time is the time to say something, not just, you know, in the moment.
I think there's certainly no timeline to like going through something that shocking and that, like you said, grief stricken, right? Like your body's processing what you're going through. And I think it's you guys are so young to have gone through like a year, like, or 3, 5, 10 years like that. And there really is nothing else like that, except for whatever reason, why and how losing a sibling is just, it's the wildest experience to lose like that. So I think you guys are so brave to be able to, whatever timeline it took, to be able to talk to it. And I think just as somebody, as like a bystander hearing your story, I think you are able to like put a voice to people that are also going through those things, right? Like it's taboo in our society, and you're right in that you don't want the sadness to diminish all the joy and the happiness and everything that he was in life, right? That like, because of this, one situation or one, because of the way that he was lost. So yeah, I think you guys are so brave. And I think, I think we hear it a lot on the podcast and talking to other artists, is that we are also gifted to at least have this therapeutic tool.
For sure. Yeah.
Because without it, we don't get to,
If you only had to internalize,
Yeah, I have no idea what people do that aren't artists. Like, how do they get through their sadness and their grief, or their joy or their happiness, all the emotions, right? Yeah. I think it's just so cathartic for all of us to be like able to have these tools in our toolbox. So,
oh my gosh, I totally agree.
So yeah, I wanted to talk about 2 songs specifically that struck me. We heard them a few times when we saw you at Brandon's house, and then also at your release party was the and also just like them side by side for me was so impactful, was Unlearning and then Rebuild. Okay. For me, those 2 songs were just like, it was just one of those moments where you're sitting and listening to an artist and you're like, yeah, like we're all going through this and we all have to like figure out this transition of what we grew up and what we've been told all these years, and then how do we turn into a functional adult and become the person we want to be. So I was just wondering if you guys could speak to those two songs specifically.
So Unlearning is the one that kind of, on the album at least, bridges like the dark and light. So if you listen to the album, if you get it on vinyl, like Unlearning is the last song on side A, and side A is pretty much the darkness of the album, and side B is the light. But Unlearning turns, like its outro becomes light, like it's the turning point. It's kind of like that turning point in the album. But it's like the one that's kind of like it's like guiding you through growing. I guess they kind of both serve as kind of instruction, like Rebuild and Unlearning. But like it's like guiding you through like it's kind of like the only way out is through Unlearning. Yeah. It's more like it's going to be uncomfortable to face like all of this inner turmoil. It's going to be uncomfortable if you have, in the case that we kind of like, you could look at Unlearning as if it was specifically about addiction, like getting over addiction, but you could also learning like about it as if it was like just getting through a trauma. Or anything that you need to change that's going to be uncomfortable. Like it can be whatever it means to you, for sure. We know what it was for us, but again, these songs are like meant to be interpreted by the listener as well too. It was like the idea of going through the discomfort, because that is the only way to a turning point, Unlearning. And then,
which is often what it's like. I can speak for myself, but that's where I think in any way, whether you're talking, but we had, this point of, considering my brother's struggle. It's not that it gets glazed over, but like how hard it actually is to unlearn a habit, a pattern, a thought, an old belief. It's like, it's deep in there, like to just be like, just try. It's like, no, don't just try. Like, suffer, like go visit it again. This is not going to be easy. And like kind of honoring that, like, it's not easy. This is going to probably be one of the worst, most challenging things that you have to do. And just even saying it, that it is like, it is going to be that hard. But yeah, I guess that is like, that's the point. It's worth it that you keep trying. And I think, although it wasn't the outcome, there was a little bit of like, maybe poetic licensing that we said. Like we both talked about the ending. We knew you had kind of already had that idea that it was going to switch keys and like become this lighter sound. But I think lyrically it was sort of like, we were almost writing into what my wish would be, that, when he passed, my brother was actually clean, and he had been clean numerous times and worked so hard. Like, talk about like the lyric in the chorus is like, breaking a path of poisoned learning. And like, just, I feel like I don't know, just honoring how many times you have to revisit something before you can shift, and then what the shift can really mean. So yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, and I think it was just such like a, again, whatever anyone's going through, I think like it was so powerful, just the idea that like you're not your wounds. You're not like, we identify ourselves, you wake up in the morning, you're like, I'm having a bad day. Like I'm miserable today. I'm sad,
I am my trauma.
I am my trauma. And I think like just giving people that, that message that like they are not, the horrible things that they've attached themselves to, that they can unlearn what they've thought about themselves for sure, however long. That like, I think that was so powerful to me.
You can carry that along with whatever else you choose that you want to do.
Yeah, and that leads into the Rebuild song, and I think same thing. Just sitting there listening to that, just the opportunity, giving yourself permission to like change your narrative. Change your sit in the suck and then make it better. I think was just so powerful to me that like vision from going from the dark to the light.
Rebuild was a nice one for us that kind of actually took on a double meaning just through playing live, which was cool, because Rebuild is the one we've been playing for a few years. Like we've actually been playing it out.
Workshopping it a bit.
Yeah. And for us, it was the idea that it actually like, we wrote it as kind of an instruction manual to ourselves about like picking ourselves up from the grief. And to anyone, like, it's okay to like that, you're taking all the time that you need. Like, there's not like I got to be good now. Like, it's okay. You can be slow.
Yeah.
And for us, it was specifically about the loss and that year. But then we played a festival in Robson Valley, which is in British Columbia, in like northern BC, and it is near the border of Jasper. And we played the summer that Jasper had burnt down.
Oh my
and
gosh!
The festival they were donating a good portion of the festival proceeds to the rebuilding of Jasper. Right. They let anybody who from Jasper come to the festival for free. So we got to speak a little bit about, like, because that was like, obviously having to rebuild their lives emotionally and physically rebuild
literally
everything they had.
Yeah.
So we played it there, and there it took on this very different meaning for us to play it. And we were like, okay. And so then we were like realizing, like, it's kind of like a song is alive, and it might mean a specific thing the time you wrote it, and then it can kind of take new shapes as it, as time passes.
Yeah, so those are the legendary songs. They're timeless, right? They keep meaning something to, like, the human experience, and they're really relative to everyone. Everyone feels those feelings of like, oh, I have to start over, and like, do I have to, and you'll get friends too. I'm sure you guys went through this, or they were just calling you like, I'm checking in on you. Like, what do you want me to say?
Yeah.
Do you want me to say I'm happy right now? Yay, we're good. We're all good. Yeah, we're good. Yeah. See you Friday. Like, it's wild that, as humans, we kind of put pressure on ourselves and pressure on each other to be like, are you good? Are we good?
Yeah, can we say that we're good?
Is it fine? Yeah. Can we just lie and say we're good right now? Mm-hmm. So I think it's really awesome that, it was that, like, kind of permission that, like, you're allowed to take the time to do it. And I think it doesn't matter how long it takes. So it was so powerful. I loved it. I just wanted to talk about kind of the vulnerability in songwriting in general, kind of what that means for you guys and in your songwriting, being able to kind of express some of these voices and what that means for you guys.
I think cinema was definitely our biggest exercise in doing that, because we've written about some, like, I've written about some hurts before. We've written about our love before. But I think this was the album that kind of like was okay, let's lay everything out, like, and also just speak to it. So it's always a place for vulnerability or a place for fear. Like, even we did, 2 songs on something called the Bear Sessions, where we just like recorded in a day, where we spoke to like kind of the hopes and fears of like just getting older, kind of being at like what feels like a halfway point in life, and that's vulnerable. But cinema is going into literally our darkest experience we've ever had, and being like, okay, everybody here, and then hopefully this can help as well for you. But I think that we have had at least for me, I've had some experience in writing vulnerably before, but this one was the one where like, okay, it's all bets are off. Let's just kind of show everything.
Put it all on the table. Yeah.
I think from my perspective, and it's just been how it has worked in this project, that Mike is this like conduit with ideas that just flow. And I think it was really powerful that he could be vulnerable so that I could, because it's not like we had millions of conversations, endless conversations about how we felt about it, but
which all made their way into the lyrics.
They did, but it was like, it felt like it was the final way to like actually release. And there's just something about having it actualized in that way, singing it live, even recording it. We had a lot of moments recording that recording can be a magical thing, so romantic, we're in the studio, that take was great, awesome, let's do one safety, cool, and we're all like getting along and having great. And other times there's challenges, like, I don't think that worked, let's do that harmony again, like, I'm not sure about this, what do you think we should add here production wise? But this experience had a few moments that to me at least felt like a first, where like I was weeping just to go back to that feeling. It's like, ooh, it like quite literally was such a gift that that he could write these feelings of my own, heart into a song, and then like give it to me to sing was really beautiful. And I don't know. There was definitely a feeling a little bit different that it really, I'm grateful that was the way, I guess, through for us. And
yeah, there's a song on the out record called Recovery, which was the hardest to sing, not because it's necessarily the hardest to sing, but we were talking about kind of like some of the first mornings we felt okay and like felt like we could actually, and I was so vivid to be like, I remember those mornings. I remember like the light filtering through blinds and feeling like, okay, maybe we can like do a little bit more today. Like this feeling of like, maybe we have a little bit more in us, and trying to sing that and then not break emotionally, not like because the note was too high, but literally just not break emotionally. It was just like, okay. And then you could hear it a bit on the record, which I like now, like going back to it. But that was so a new thing to try and like, just try and get through the take and not like unravel was a interesting thing on this album.
Yeah, and I think that's like when you're including vulnerability at that level.
We have had conversations about maybe putting out an album that's happy and fun. Maybe we can do one that's like, this one's fun, this one's happy. It's not just fun.
No, I think it's been such a big project for you guys that like it's hard to, wrap your head around. I always see artists at the end of like an album release and they're just like, looks like they went through the war. They're like, oh God, like I can't write one more thing ever again. It's over. They need, some time to be like, all right, okay, we're ready again.
Totally.
What might have been actually nice is then like right after, like, I mean, nice and also ill-planned, but it's like right after we got through that and the album release, we had to pivot and become
minuscule.
Yes, yeah.
I feel like, hey, we have another album release in 3 weeks.
Yeah, and that's honestly, that's a whole other like form of cathartic, because they're just, you guys are firecrackers in that band. Like, it's so much fun. I was like buzzing after after the album release there, so it was awesome.
So were we. That was such a
so fun. Yeah, so fun. Okay, I think we're ready for a break, and we're gonna hear from
our
you guys.
sponsors.
Yeah, word from our sponsors. Cheese.
big fan.
We're gonna get you guys to play.
Oh,
yeah.
Okay, sure.
We're gonna arrange ourselves and figure it out. Do you guys have your song picked?
Sure, I'll play Rebuild. We can play Rebuild.
Yay. Okay, perfect.
I didn't bring a keyboard, but he has a guitar. Is that okay?
We got keyboards.
We
can do it.
We'll figure it out. Yeah. We're excited. Okay, all
That's no problem.
All right, we'll be back.
This is off our newest record, Cinema. This is the last song on the record before the last song with lyrics on the record. This is called Rebuild. First pull out those rusted bones, pile the good sections of wood and take care around those splinters. It's been such a long winter, no need for a new wound today. Setting them down, reveal their grain, see new shape, embrace this change just beyond that old hill. There's a skyline that's filled with everything you ever need to rebuild. Next you'll find some level ground, lay footing thick, with windows surrounding you, lights flooding in. As you catch your breath, you're allowed to be still, you're allowed to take time to rebuild. Just beyond that old hill, there's a skyline that's filled with everything you'll ever need. to be still, and I know that you will. So take all the time that you need to rebuild.
All right, we are back talking to Mike and Tara from For Ernest. Before we get back into our chat, I just wanted to thank everyone for the follows, for subscribing. We've been working on our YouTube, so if you guys can check us out there, that would be great. If you know any musicians that would be interested in hearing this chat or listening to Mike and Tara's live music, then definitely send it towards them. So yeah, on our break we were talking all about our travels in Peru together. So yeah, Tara just was telling us about her experience traveling to Peru, and we were really excited to share ours as well.
That between like my summer semester, and so I'd been many times, and a couple other like Ecuador as well, and I went to Brazil a couple times, but he had been all these countries too, and we were like, you know, it'd be really cool if together we could somehow like get all the continents. So like, okay, he needs to catch me up on Australia and Asia, and I need to catch him up on South America. So we sort of planned the trip to like, okay, let's check this one off the list.
Yeah, 2018, and then I think 2020 was supposed to be Australia.
Yes,
and I got
but that trip got axed.
Right.
But,
We flew into Lima first.
Yeah, and then actually that trip was pretty wild. We're like, let's do as much as we can in 3 weeks. So we actually...
Oh, you're there for 3 weeks. Okay.
No, actually, we went everywhere. So we actually went to out to the Rockies, and we skied.
He found this wild flight that he was like, the cheapest possible flight has 3 layovers, which is great, and we'll just extend all the layovers and have little mini trips.
So we skied out in Alberta, and then we went to San Francisco. And then we did like an Alcatraz tour at night, and did hike the redwoods while we were there. And then we got to Lima, and then we went to Iquitos, and then we did like a guided tour with like a Marine he was originally from there. Then he lived in San Diego, and he was a U.S. Marine. Then he got shot. He got PTSD, had a heart attack from the war. He was in Afghanistan, and then he went back, and the shaman helped him with his PTSD. And then so he wanted to bring like authentic tourism and bring some money to the village that the shaman was from.
Aww,
so we did like a guided tour for so we did like 3 days of like tents and like they took us through kind of like the Tohoyo Basin, and then like we like
just us two and
we fished and caught piranha, ate it, like we just like did like
that's wild.
Yeah. And then after that we did like the what's it called,
the way to Cusco,
the Inca Trail hike to Machu Picchu, and then we did Machu Picchu Mountain.
Amazing.
Yeah, and then we just kind of came back to Lima and just like relaxed
for a few days. We thought about hang gliding, but we couldn't fit it in.
Yeah, we were too tired. Yeah.
But I was like, I'm also like, I had maybe like I like a little bit of wilder things on vacation, so that appealed to me, and you went with it for sure.
Yeah.
Because I had like done like I had like scuba dived in the Barrier Reef, but I also bungee jumped in Nevis Bluff in New Zealand, and I had skydived in Las Vegas, and
I maybe incorrectly knew how crazy you're gonna get with it, because I was like, I've been so many times. If there's something you want to do, let's do it. He was like, I booked us into the jungle with a Marine.
I asked first if it was okay before I hit confirm.
I feel like I was totally intimidated. They obviously when we went, they're like, you need to land in Lima because you're gonna have altitude sickness, and then ease your way up. I was like, nah.
Just went right there.
We flew right to Cusco. Our son was so sick. It was so bad. The poor kid. I was like, we're not going to get
drink
sick.
the Coca tea?
Oh, yeah.
I was like,
I was drinking Coca tea the whole time.
Gosh.
Yeah.
I don't know. I found coffee helped me more.
Better?
Oh, cool.
Yeah, just caffeine.
Yeah, that could
For a reason, I'm just used to it, I guess.
Yeah.
But yeah, we were really like we were a whole month within the Cusco area, like 3 hours.
Lovely.
We did Sacred Valley
that's
for
so
2
cool
full
that
weeks.
So you feel like you're really
I
exploring.
would love
there.
to do
Yeah, Sacred
I know.
Valley was amazing. He's into all the ancient ruins, like all the megalithic. Yeah.
It's
We
incredible.
saw as many as we could, and we like barely scratched the surface.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There, and, like,
Did you guys go to Sacsayhuaman?
No.
yeah,
It was
the best.
so good. We ended up there a couple times.
So close to Cusco. Too.
Yeah, it's like in
Top
Cusco.
of
It's like
Mountain.
northern Cusco. You
Yeah.
probably drove right by it.
Yeah.
It's like on the way out to Machu Picchu.
We did.
Yeah.
We did.
Oh, it's so good.
Oh, it's such an incredible country.
Yeah, so when I messaged you, I was giving you questions, I was like, you guys are married. He was like, no, we're not married. However,
we were told by the shaman afterwards, after they blew a ring of smoke around us.
Well,
From the
it
Tibetans.
was, I think it was the end of the third or fourth day, and these people were so amazing
They
too.
were.
Like
Yeah.
by the time, and of course they didn't speak English, but we had like this amazing translator, and like by the time we were leaving, it honestly felt like there was this bond, and he was so kind, and I guess the way they explained it was kind of like he wants to give you a blessing, and we're like, of course. But then after the translator is like laughing to himself, and he's like, now you're married. And here we are like, yes, we're saying yes.
perfect. How much was this trip? That was our wedding. We eloped.
Yeah.
Accidentally eloped.
It wasn't legal, but it was spiritual.
Oh my God, it's amazing.
Yeah, it totally
Yeah.
counts. He was such incredible man. Like, it was just
he
like the
was.
best ever. So,
It must be such a great opportunity that you can tour.
oh,
Then
yeah.
you get to travel and work at the same time.
Yeah,
like,
we were
it's the best of
That's
both
been great.
worlds.
We were talking about it because we in minuscule, we agreed that this would be a no-fly year for us. Like we were going to focus on kind of playing more locally. And we're going to go up and we're going to do a 3-day residency in Ottawa next week. And then we're playing in Quebec, which will be great.
Yeah.
But like the last 2 summers we went and toured BC. And then now that we're actually at the summer where we said we weren't going to fly, we're like, oh man, we're not going to BC.
Really wanna go. Yeah.
We're like, maybe we could talk to these people. They went to Germany. Let's ask them how that experience was.
Yeah.
And these people did this.
Yeah, my parents live out in BC. They there's a music festival in their town, the Wapiti Music Festival.
Okay, yeah.
So I don't know in Ferdy. My Son the Hurricane played there one year, and my parents were just so stoked that they're like from St.
Yeah.
Catharines, and it was good. So they always try and get other bands that we know to play.
Well,
play at
you
Wapiti
just
Music Festival.
will
Yeah,
come
you
here.
guys want to go?
Let us
You
know.
guys want to go to Wapiti?
Yes.
Yeah.
The answer is always yes.
Yeah.
My best friend lives in Roslyn, which isn't, I guess maybe it's probably 7 or 8 hours from Fernie, but it's like that direction.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah, it's more in the Kootenays,
so,
not
yeah,
like
we
in
just,
like
like-
Vancouver. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, we love to be out that way. It's so great.
We were supposed to go to Japan, and now I have the money in our bank account, and I'm like, I wish it was gone. I wish the money was gone. I wish we were going to Japan. Like, you make these like smart adult decisions, and you're just like, I regret it.
Yeah. It's a yes and no thing, You're always like, yeah.
I know. Yeah, it's hard. The last thing that I wanted to talk about, I just wanted to switch gears.
We
Oh,
want to.
we'll figure it out. We'll
hit
edit it.
record, but we didn't technically restart.
We'll figure
Do you
it out.
want
I wanted to switch gears and talk about, because we share the same thing. We have our dance studio as part of our house. We were talking off air before the episode, just, kind of how that plays into like the financial health of your business and being able to find a space where you can work and not, end up all the money going out the back door.
Yeah, I think that like you were mentioning too, because like having rented before too, right?
Yeah.
Like that's such a financial drain.
Yeah.
And like I had rented a commercial space for a studio for 8 years.
Yeah.
So
It was very strategic for you.
you
like,
had
a
to
plan.
Yeah. Because like your threshold is like you have to make this much to cover rent and utilities before you're making $1, right? So there's something very different about it being part of the mortgage. Like there's just like for us, it's like, I mean, it still took like a lot of some investing up front and then the labor to go build the space. But
Oh,
when
yeah.
love
You
it,
still have a down payment. You
Yeah.
still have a
Oh,
mortgage
yeah.
payment.
for sure. But like if you have to pay to live anyway, it's so much better that your space is just part of your mortgage or part of your
That's it.
payment that way too. And then we were like, we had to be extra strategic about it because obviously there's not like infinite money in playing music. Like we do, I should like knock on some wood here that I've had good luck in being able to make some money playing. But what we did, the house we actually found is a legal duplex. So that also helped us get approved for it. And also it was in 2016. So it was like housing prices were a lot better.
Before times.
Yeah, right before the insane. Yeah.
But because it was a legal duplex, like they approved us easier because there's like that potential rental income. And then so what we did first was even though the first thing I wanted to do was gut and renovate the barn in the backyard, which is why we bought it. It's like, no, we got to do the apartment first.
So we can find a renter.
Find a renter, then we can take the money from the rent and then move
put it
there.
towards you.
It's just like like a puzzle, right? And then
Adulting.
Yeah. But there were moments in those early years where you're just like, we're up there like scraping walls and, doing the very not glamorous parts. And you're just like,
eventually,
when's this going to be? But
yeah. And then what we ended up doing is like, because we're in St. Catharines, so there's a lot of students and postgrad students.
Yeah.
Is like to maybe like eventually like if we wanted to. It's okay. Just an action shot.
Yeah, very actiony. It'll be in the outtakes.
For us, what we did is we're like, we'll just rent to like a master's student and then and furnish it and then see if we want to keep having a renter or if we ever want to like take over the whole house for ourselves, we would. But that a couple years of having a renter, then we just took all of that money and nest egged it and then put it into like building the barn. So it was just kind of like
that's amazing.
Even for that, I feel like we started it. Really, we used it. I mean, we had a couple friends, did a little work with them at the early days. Like Katie Gatta did some recording there.
Yeah.
We did some minuscule stuff, of course.
But it also like the cost. We have some friends who have like had to make albums and like, when you are just paying for studio time, it can become so prohibitive to release stuff. We're lucky in the sense that now that we have the space, it's like if we want to make like what we did with cinema, it's like, well, we paid our like some guest musicians to play on it, but like the studio time is just our time.
Didn't have to rent, like
the
you have to get it done in this many hours.
Yeah.
You can go out after dinner if you need to, or doesn't matter. The flexibility is
you just jump in for 5 minutes. You're not like, we booked this 2 hours, so here we are. We're staying here.
And that makes it. I feel like it makes everything possible. Even like the idea of like what we're doing with, which we'll do more of, like the bare sessions where we just go in one day and record and release. Yeah. That we can do any day we're inspired because we don't have to book studio time, and then it doesn't. And I mean, also there's so little, if any, revenue in streaming that like you don't have to try and immediately make
justify
it back from your Spotify streams or whatever. Like you can, yeah.
I think for us, it's literally shaped like who we are as people because I'm just so much more open and giving. I don't have to be this like, I have to pay my bills, like it's just, I feel like I'm just this like calm person that's just like giving away community time to people because I have the space and I have the availability. No, like we're doing fine and we've like made, even the ground so that it is comfortable for us. So why wouldn't you give back to other artists in the area that are dying to do it?
There's no, it's not like, you're not coming from a place of desperation. So then you can be generous. Like it's like,
it's allowed us to like be the people that we always wanted to be, but when you're trying to pay rent and you're trying to make ends meet, like you have to, you're just constantly justifying being this person that you don't want to be.
But there is that phase of like getting to that place where now it's set and now it can just kind of operate.
We didn't even get into it. I would love to have you back as like just doing your sound engineering.
For sure,
because you must be building your business as you go, right?
What was actually really cool about the cinema show, which was a byproduct that I never thought of, but there are two people that were there that I really like, two artists I really love, and asked me afterwards, after hearing the record, if I would work on their stuff.
Amazing.
So like one is actually happening next month. One is like a theoretical, like maybe at the end of summer or like the next thing they do.
Yeah.
But that's kind of a cool community thing. It's like I did not put out cinema as a calling card to record people, but it ends up being one.
It accidentally just does that because then you're networking.
Well, that I feel like has been, and I'm the fortunate recipient of this, but aside from having the home studio, is like the fact that you know, I don't know how many years ago it was, but however many years ago, a few, let's say, like became proficient as a producer and learned a skill and, you know, cut your teeth and, you know, developed that so that we also don't have to hire a producer. Like, we're not renting space and we're not hiring a producer.
Yeah.
And like, a lot of the instruments I can hopefully cover, but like can't do the strings. Can't play strings. and I don't like fake strings, so I love bringing in.
Yeah. They're hard.
Yeah, very hard.
It's a hard instrument.
It's been a double, like, really, really fortunate. I feel very aware of that too. Like, I know how it can be so expensive to produce quality, you know, music on your own as an independent artist. So
we feel the same way about the podcast. I'm like, if we had to pay someone to do all this tech stuff, I'm like, it would never happen.
And it's a lot. Like,
it's
the work that you put in is a lot of work.
It's a lot of work.
Yeah.
So many tedious hours.
I know.
Yeah.
Passion.
When it gets to the mixing stage, I'm always like, do you want some lunch?
Yeah.
Because I'm like pretty useless. I can hit the like space bar to start and stop when we're recording, but I kind of max out at that. So yeah, good work.
You can sit in on a comp.
Husband appreciation. We'll make the lunch. Yeah, it was so funny. You guys have that song like Coming of Older Years or something? Older age, yeah. And I remember Jacob just looking at me and being like, I thought they were 20. I was like, I don't know, man. Like, I don't know.
Aren't we all 20?
Yeah. And then we heard you sing and I was like, I think he's 60. Like, just this beautiful, like, soulful voice of like, you know, have so much life experience, and it makes sense. You've done lots of traveling, you know, you've really followed your passion. So yeah, it makes sense that you have that energy that has all this, you know, life experience, but you guys look like you're 20.
Oh.
Don't feel like it. Don't feel like it in the bones.
Maybe music keeps you young.
Maybe.
You know? Art keeps you young.
Perhaps.
Hopefully.
Amazing. Well, this has been so great. We're going to check out another track. Okay. And thanks so much for joining us. This is great.
Oh my gosh. Thank you for having us.
Don't forget to follow us on Spotify and you'll never miss a podcast.
All right. Good night.
Okay. We're going to introduce.
Well, there's a belter too. I just realized for sitting low. Ooh. Okay. We're gonna do the first song we ever released. This is a song about how we met. This is Until We're Ghosts. She said, hello, my name is Terrelyn. Lately I feel I just can't win. These attempts to get things right have me feeling pretty strange tonight. But a stranger you don't seem to be, and the air around you has an urgency. It's as if we'd spoke 100 years, laying out our hopes and fears. So if all that's left to do is kiss, I pray on hope this doesn't miss. So if we know, then we know, and we'll dance until we're ghosts. If we know, then we know. He said, you're the song I didn't know, until a melody all at once did flow. And in every path I didn't take,
Well, I'm certain now is no mistake.
And so if all that's left to do is kiss, I pray on hope this doesn't miss. Ooh, whoa. Ooh, whoa. And so if we know, then we know, and we'll dance until we're ghosts. If we know, then we know, let it be so. 'Cause we know, and we'll dance until we're ghosts. If we know, then we know. Just do it. So if we know, then we know, and we'll dance until we're ghosts. If we know, then we